Conservative New Media viewers, Jeremy Lin fans around the world, what's up? It's me, PFV Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert, and we're here to discuss Brooklyn's 104-96 defeat tonight to the Miami Heat in Miami, Florida. Brooklyn falls to 9-39 on the season. Miami improves to 19-13 on the year. Brooklyn has lost 6 games in a row, whereas Miami has now won 8 games in a row, which is presently the longest streak in the NBA. What happened in the game? Brooklyn got out to an excellent start. They actually led by 4 points after the first quarter. They then proceeded to lose the next 3 quarters by 8 points, 3 points, and 1 point. It just added up. Miami was then able to kind of get a little bit of a cushion going into the later stretches of the fourth quarter, and they just kind of held Brooklyn off enough. And that's pretty much what occurred in this game. Now, what's happening recently in these games, and we say we're very encouraged by the play of Brooklyn's bench, and definitely encouraged. Everybody played tonight for the Nets, or everybody was available to play tonight, except for Joe Harris, who's out with a sprained ankle still, and of course Jeremy Lin. I believe everybody else was able to play tonight, even though 3 players did not play: Chris McCullough, Luis Scola, and Quincy Acey, but I believe they were able to go. So Brooklyn was missing 2 starters. That's something that's important to recognize and to talk about. But the starters that Brooklyn is going with right now, they're struggling, whereas the bench is doing pretty well for itself. We've talked about this in the last couple of videos. The bench unit of Isaiah Whitehead, Karis LeVert, Sean Kilpatrick, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, and Justin Hamilton is really carving out a nice spot for themselves. And they're able to compete with a lot of these second units and do a pretty good job. So once the starters can kind of even out a little bit and get a little stronger, Brooklyn's going to be in more of these games. They're going to have a chance to win more of these games. Of course, when Jeremy Lin and Joe Harris come back, that boosts the starting unit, and it makes the bench even stronger. You have more bodies you can put out there against the opposition, so it will help. But look, it's difficult to lose. It's difficult to lose this much. It's tough on the fans. I'm sure it's tough on the players. It's tough on the coaches. It's just a struggle. It's something we've got to deal with, and certainly I don't think it'll ever be this bad again, particularly not when Jeremy's there. And I do think it'll help us have perspective when things start to turn towards the upside, which they will. I don't think it'll take too long for that to happen. In fact, I think they're already improving. Unfortunately, they're not. It's not coming through in the win column yet. Miami outshot the Nets by about 5 percentage points, 48% to 43%. Miami hit 7 more 3-pointers than did the Nets. Brooklyn had a few more free throw makes than did Miami, and also Brooklyn did a very nice job in offensive rebounding tonight. They had 15 offensive rebounds, and the Heat only had 5. That shows you that Brooklyn was working really hard. They put a lot of effort into this. They just simply couldn't shoot well enough and couldn't get shots to fall when they needed them to. They out-rebounded Miami 53 to 34. I mean, that's plus 19. That's really good. So if you're the coach, Coach Atkinson, your guys aren't quitting on you. They're trying very hard. They're just not quite there yet. Miami, 22 assists to only 11 turnovers, so that's a 2-to-1 ratio, whereas Brooklyn was 16 assists, 16 turnovers, 1-to-1 ratio. Obviously, 2-to-1 is better than 3-to-1 in this department, and that tells you a lot about what happened in this game. The Heat shot better. They took better care of the ball. They were able to hold off even though it hold off Brooklyn, even though the Nets did out-rebound them and out-offensive rebound them. Miami got stops on defense when they needed to, and this was a good game for a lot of this game. It was. It's just what's happening in many of these games is when it comes down to the end and you need to make a play, or you need some experienced playmakers and precision in your offense and on defense, the Nets can't quite do it yet. They don't have the experience. They don't have the chemistry. They don't have the talent. So there's just a bit of a lack there for the Nets right now. But like I said, you look at those rebounding numbers, and they're working extremely hard. So you can't really fault them. The guys are trying. They're giving everything. It's just not quite there yet. I love the second unit. I think Coach Atkinson has really found a second unit that works great. I think there's a good chance that when Jeremy and Joe Harris come back, there's a good chance, in my opinion, that Randy Foye and Spencer Dinwiddie will go to the third unit. And what I mean by that is sometimes coaches will keep players in their roles. And what that means in this case is you might keep Isaiah Whitehead and Karis LeVert as the second team point guard and shooting guard, rather than moving them up to the starting unit, because you want them to build chemistry with the second unit, which is where you want them to play. And so sometimes, rather than pushing those guys up into the next unit, you keep them in the second unit and you move third stringers up into the starting unit while your first stringers are out with injury. So I would not be surprised at all if that is what happens when Jeremy and Joe Harris come back, as Dinwiddie and Foye go to the third unit and aren't getting as much play. Nothing against Spencer Dinwiddie. I think he's done a pretty darn good job, honestly. Isaiah Whitehead's playing terrific. I mean, he's developing quickly. The guys that I'm looking at every single game often are Whitehead and Karis LeVert. They're moving along. Whitehead tonight, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 0 turnovers. Look, this is a rookie who wasn't expected to do anything this year. And he's showing he can play. He can play in this league, and he can do some things. And, again, that spells very good news heading into next year. So, there's not much else to say about this game. Miami came in. They were on a roll, even though they're still 11 games under 500. Now they're feeling good about themselves. The Nets are still trying to figure it out, but they are playing hard. And they just, when they needed to, they were able to turn it up a notch, and Brooklyn wasn't able to match it. And that's basically what occurred in this game. So, but I'm not down on the team whatsoever. The starters are doing what they can, given the fact that they are missing Jeremy Lin and Joe Harris in that starting lineup. That weakens them. Guys are trying. They're just, sometimes the talent and the chemistry just isn't quite there. And they've had so many different lineups and so many different times missing people this year. It kind of can catch up with you. Okay, let's talk about the next game. That game will take place 2 days from now, Wednesday, February 1st. And it will be the Battle of New York. I think episode 3 this season, I believe. The Brooklyn Nets will host their crosstown rivals, the New York Knicks, in Barclays Center in Brooklyn. The game will take place at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can catch it on Yes Network if you live in and around the city of New York. And if you don't, then you can watch it on NBA League Pass on one of those two services. Look, the Knicks are going through a bunch of stuff right now. There's all this talk about, are they going to trade Carmelo Anthony, and what does Phil Jackson want to do with the team, and are they going to blow it up and so forth. The Knicks on paper are better than the Nets are. The Knicks should be favored. They should win the game, but still, the Nets just need to come out and show the kind of effort that they showed tonight. If they can get on the rebounding stats like they did tonight, get on the boards and put the energy out there, then there's a chance that they can win this game. It's certainly a game in which they should be able to compete. The Knicks aren't that much better than them, or they certainly haven't played like that this entire year. So I'm looking forward to a good contest. Like I said, look, Brooklyn can win these games. Unfortunately, they're just not winning them right now. But ever since the game 7 games ago now, where they beat New Orleans in New Orleans, that was a turning point for the Nets. It's just hopefully but they haven't been able to translate it into any more wins yet. So they just need to kind of bear down a little bit, try to get another win. And as I said, it's tough. The Nets have the fewest wins in the NBA. They're not doing well. They're where everybody said they were going to be before the season. They're the worst team in the league and so forth. And it can kind of spiral and fall on itself, and it gets worse and worse and worse. But the signs still are promising for this team. They're not giving up. They are putting out the energy. They are improving. They're definitely improving as regards to lineups, second unit, and so forth. Hopefully Joe Harris and Jeremy will be back as soon as they can, and then I think we might be able to see even more improvement beyond what we're witnessing right now. That is about it. Hope you're having a great night or great day wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. Take care. We will talk to you again in about 48 hours from now as the Brooklyn Nets host the New York Knicks from Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York City.